Again, welcome back to the show with Susie and Christian. I'm delighted to say we're joined by the actor Larry Lamb. How nice to see you, Larry.
How nice to see you, Jeremy.
And of course, viewers at home will know Larry from his roles in Gavin and Stacey and EastEnders. So do you mind if we just look? Come on, let's have a look at Mick Shipman.
What on earth have you got there?
I'm on the Atkins.
You what?
Atkins means, unlike you two, I'm not entitled to any carbohydrates vis-a-vis chips, so I have substituted my chips by having 2 extra steaks.
3 steaks? Are you mad?
No, Mick, it's not 3 steaks. It's 1 steak for me as an actual steak, 1 as a substitute for my chips, and 1 as a substitute for my peas.
You're eating half a cow, woman.
Right, that's it. I knew you'd say something. I'll starve.
Mum, come on.
No, Gavin, I've had enough. I've tried. God knows I've tried. I've done the lot. Pilates doesn't work. Can't do the cabbage soup because your lordship don't like the smell, and now I can't even have a steak.
For the love of Mike.
Dad, she's on a diet.
Look, I'm sorry. Have the sodding steak.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it? When was that? That must be 15 years ago.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
More.
The only time anybody ever swore on Gavin and Stacey, I think that's it. Have the sodding steak.
Oh, OK, someone obviously decided...
About red line as it got.
Well, of course, they had the Christmas special, so we saw Larry reprising his role as Mick for the finale last year. It was brilliant, and this moment when Smithy asks for Mick's opinion before deciding whether to marry Sonia has been nominated for a BAFTA. Let's have a look at the clip.
I would now like to ask the congregation if you believe Neil and Sonia should not become husband and wife today. Could you please stand?
What are you doing? Are you insane?
Sonia, would you like to...
Right, just do the bloody vows. I, Sonia, take you, Neil.
Hang on, wait. Mick?
Sorry? Am I being pranked? Is this a joke?
Oh, it's so moving even now.
I'm tearing up again.
Yeah.
All over again. What a
So you could get a BAFTA for a non-speaking part there, right?
Tell me. 50 years in the business, I get more response out of saying nothing.
It was a good stare, though, wasn't it?
It's a great stand. As
Yeah.
well.
Were you ready for the reaction that whole last episode got?
Yeah, I sort of had a feeling that we had a bit of a bet, and I based on the one that we'd done 5 years previously, and I was a bit out, but I kind of figured, you know, once you've seen it, and funnily enough, once you've been with the crew, because the crew are the people who see it done the first time, because the last stage of getting it on film or getting it on the camera is for them to have a crew rehearsal. So the crew are always the first ones to see those scenes performed, and the response from the crew was just stunning. So
Really?
Yeah.
And when you had your bet, was it about the number of
Yeah, the number.
viewers?
You know?
Because it was 19 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, altogether, that was all the add-ons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was, it was pretty good.
It's so good.
Pretty
It's so good.
Like old-time BBC days.
Well, yeah, like Morecambe and Wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be open to the characters of Pam and Mick having some kind of spin-off?
Yeah, well, look,
Is Alison up
what
for
we're going
that?
to do, having a romantic holiday together on a Caribbean island, you know. So I don't know. I mean, it will be lovely. I mean, everybody that was involved with it would love to do it again.
Now I'm looking around because I'm hoping I've got your book here, but you have just released a book.
Yeah.
So let's just mention this. It's called All Wrapped Up, and it takes the point of view of an assistant director on a troubled film shoot in the Caribbean. So we see a few of your Gavin and Stacey co-stars who came to support the launch of the book. And there they are. Tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, Scarborough and Melanie. Yeah, basically, it's an adventure story, and it's all from the point of view of the crew. And you understand that this is a situation that the crew have to deal with because things are starting to unravel right from when the first assistant gets in a car to go to the airport to fly out to the Caribbean. And it's up to him, as is the case, to hold the whole thing together as it all goes wrong. So it's true to life, and it's everything that I've learned about working with crews over 50 years. and that's all the fun and all the banter and getting together and dealing whatever turns up is what happens when you're out on one of these.
I left my here we are. We got the brilliant Josh bringing the. Come on, run through with the book.
Come on.
We've got to hold the book up here. Well done. There we go, all wrapped. I love the cover, by the way, all wrapped up. So, and I think looking at it, you know, it shows your sympathy with the people who never really get the credit, doesn't it?
The unsung heroes.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go and do the job, right? And very often get home at 9 o'clock at night. And nobody ever really writes about them, and they're the ones that carry you through.
His famous thing where they always say key grip at the end. No one even knows what key grip is, but he's in everything.
I don't know what a key grip is.
Is it a murder mystery? Is it?
No, there's a little bit of everything because they're
Someone goes missing.
going to a Caribbean island where, unbeknownst to them, and the fixer hasn't been doing his job right, there's political undercurrents that are going along, and there's all tied up with a great big land grab and skullduggery going on when they get there. And because they're beginning to realise it's all going wrong, right, as I say, from a phone call when he's in the car going to the airport. So, and the whole thing unravels. And, of course, what you've got to do is you've got to finish up with your film, and you've got to get everybody out.
Yeah.
So that's it. And this was the novel that was always in me, as you know, novel in everybody, as we know. There we are. We'll be out on the trail,
we're
right?
same
Slogging novels.
Events, yeah.
Right, there we go. And so it's that reality. It's about what has to happen if things go wrong, and it's the crew that deal with it.
But when I was looking at it, I was thinking, oh, this is written almost like a film script, because it's very pictorial.
Yeah.
It's like you're shooting it, and I wondered if you'd done it with that in mind.
No, but I can't avoid dealing with the situation when I'm writing about people. I want to know how they talk to each other, you know? That's what the chat is all about. And because when you're in a crew, you know, it's all about the banter. It's all about the interchange. It's all about everybody being a part of the team. And that's what I love, being a part of the team. And it's all about regular people working hard to earn a living. And just it happens that what they do is very interesting to many, many people around the world. And I figure, right, I'm going to tell them what I've learned doing this.
We should mention as well that Larry's got a show currently airing on 5 called The Feud, which is going great guns, actually.
Yeah.
So let's just have a look at this.
Do you do all your meetings in the park now?
Well, they can't bug you out here.
Why does that not feel like a joke?
Come on. Who do you think I am?
A property developer who'll go to any lengths to make a profit regardless of the law since you ask.
And one day, it could all be yours.
No, thanks. I'm one of the good guys.
Sure. Till it comes to planning applications.
You said you had an answer?
Yeah. I'm really fine, and thank you for asking.
Oh, come on, Dad.
So Jill Halfpenny there, and we should say that her character is building an extension.
Yeah.
It's gone wrong because the neighbours are objecting.
Yep.
You're the kind of wide boy in a way.
There you go.
Not the Mick character, you're Terry this
No,
time.
I'm much more Archie Mitchell the other way round.
The EastEnders character.
And, of course, she's a solicitor, which complicates things.
Yeah.
Her profession is a solicitor, so there's something going on, you know?
But it speaks to something. It's a classic thing, Christian, this, isn't it? It's where it can go completely out of control over a relatively small dispute between neighbours.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh well.
Have you heard that you're about to look as if
I was going to
you've
say, you're bringing up my home life now because I've got so many disputes with the neighbours.
Really?
I've got builders just started up above us from 7:30 every morning. It's great
good fun.
But,
good fun.
Yeah, but
I thought these days they basically relaxed all planning law and you could basically build anything, but maybe not.
it's the opposite of the problem. I come on here every time to complain about how we can't build
do
things
you?
anymore. So now, you know.
Have you had any feuds?
Not recently. I'm just trying to... Well, we had, because Robert generally... You know, the West Ferry Printworks, actually, it's in that picture there. So I live on the Isle of Dogs. You had the West Ferry Printworks, which they spent ages bringing down, and appalling levels of noise. It was like an earthquake every morning. And, you know, and then dust coming over and them saying we were making it up. But anyway, at the moment, that's kind of on pause, and I hope it doesn't go ahead in its current form. They should build houses, but they're trying to double the amount.
You're not meant to call that a picture.
Well,
you're giving it. That's a real window.
Oh, it's a real window.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a real window.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've had my fair share of
But
these
it's
things.
obviously... Did you enjoy filming it, doing the feud? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I did. I love working in the northeast.
Yeah.
And I love working with Jill Halfpenny. I can't stop myself saying Halfpenny, but she
No, I do. Well, our young
Halfpenny.
producer said, how do you pronounce it? Is it Halfpenny?
It's not
And I thought,
Halfpenny anymore. Nobody
No.
knows what you mean if you say Halfpenny.
No,
right?
well,
You
you're right.
Just about manage halfpenny. Yeah.
all right, so
Lovely.
listen, there's the Feud on 5, and there's that, all wrapped up. Larry Lamb, available now. And Monday to Wednesday at 9 p.m. is the Feud on this channel. Stay with us, Larry. We've got other stories to look at in the papers. Always good to have your thoughts on this. Guardian has this headline. Let's have a look. I've no time for complaints of wokeness, says Doctor Who screenwriter. So this is obviously because they now have a doctor who is in an ethnic minority and his assistant is, and I haven't seen that many complaints about it, to be honest. What do you think?
No, as far as I'm concerned, it's a make-believe story anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to have whoever you want, but there's always people out there that want to pick a hole in anything just because it's there.
I don't know if he's kind of tilting at windmills here because it seems to me like no one's bothered.
Seems like a bit of an old debate. I mean, obviously, back when Jodie Whittaker was cast as the first female Doctor, it seemed this debate was much more prominent. But that was, 8 years ago now? I mean, there are some... I have huge respect for Russell T Davies, not just for Doctor Who, but for all sorts of other
It's a
shows
Sin.
he's done. It's a Sin was brilliant, and all other things. And I have no problem. I think Ncuti Gat was an excellent actor. I do think on some issues he goes a bit too far. For example, he took Davros, the inventor of the Daleks, he decided to take him out of the wheelchair because he thought that was offensive. I did think that was a bit silly. But also, Doctor Who's always been quite political. I remember back when and it's a bit terrifying now because it's been 10 years since my dad first sat me down to watch Christopher Eccleston as a 7-year-old, to watch him revive the show.
What, you're 17, are you?
No, 20 years, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not that old. I haven't done the maths properly.
Don't miss anything here.
But it's always been political. I mean, Russell T Davies, he was mocking the Iraq invasion at one point with the Slovene episode, and he was taking on Thatcher's sinking of the Belgrano. I do think sometimes it was a bit more subtle.
Well, I think what tends to happen is someone runs a story saying the figures are down, and then someone else says, go woke, go broke. That's what happens, isn't it?
I think in this situation, I don't think there's anything big, but I think generally there is a wider discussion sometimes where I think we fight for certain groups, whereas we know in this country it's white working class kids that are the most underrepresented, white working class boys. And I always find it sad whether they're advocates, whether they're lobbyists, do you know what I mean? And
so Doctor Who speaking with the Cockney accent, you'd never get.
Well, I don't know, probably. No,
Well, there we are, Larry.
They usually give the baddies the Cockney accent, don't they? In The Lord of the Rings, the orcs all sound like EastEnders, and I find
Birmingham.
that offensive as an EastEnder.
That'd be wonderful.
What?
Yeah.
So do I.
Cockney Doctor.
Of course I do, 100%.
Doctor Who.
Doctor, you what?
So the greatest writers in TV, Russell T Davies, who we've mentioned, Stephen Moffat, incredible for Sherlock and other things. Anyone else who's a fantastic writer?
Oh, God.
I mean, we're talking the top ones of all time.
Jimmy McGovern.
Yeah. Who did Shameless and all that?
Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah. They're the ones you want to work with, because writing for TV is not easy, is it?
I loved SAS Rogues. I have no idea. I can't remember who, but I just thought that was exceptional.
It was brilliant.
And so powerful. Yeah. And honestly, when I get to Parliament, I'm fighting. I forget what his name is. You know, the guy that didn't get the cross. Paddy Mayne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to fight for that one. But
And of course,
very
Ashlyn
powerful.
Ditter, that wrote The Feud.
What's that?
Ash Ditter.
Oh, Ash
wrote
Ditter.
The Feud.
Yeah. Paul, I was distracted because someone said in my ear, Paul Abbott wrote Shameless.
Aha.
So, there we go. Larry has a story in the BBC. Call for older driver eye tests after fatal crashes. We are a country that don't do that much retesting of older people. No. What do you think, Larry, as a young person?
As a young person, yeah, pushing 80. The thing is that, as far as I'm concerned, when you're 70, it's a bit of a shock because then all of a sudden from that point on, you've got to reapply for a driver's license every 3 years, OK? If you want to be able to have the full range of vehicles that you can drive to stay that way, you've got to have an eye test. If you don't, you just fill out the form and you automatically get a renewed one, but it only goes for 3 years. So as far as I'm concerned, particularly reading these statistics and seeing these poor people's families having to deal with the after effects of people with, not good eyesight, killing people, I think it definitely should be part of the thing. And as far as I'm concerned, it wouldn't be the most difficult thing in the world for the government to fix up like a MOT thing with all the local opticians, the big opticians, And, you know, on a certain date, you get this thing, you go in the chip with the opticians, they give you the test, and it goes into the government.
I think it's a bit mad, actually, we haven't done it up till now.
Exactly.
I think this is a very sad story.
Yeah.
It's clearly definitely needed, not just to protect other people, but to protect themselves, you know? And it is a very sad story. So I think this is well overdue.
The driver in this case is a guy called Jones, and Glyn Jones, 68, so not that old actually, but his sight wasn't good enough to the extent that he couldn't even see his steering wheel.
No,
and he was jailed 7 years, yeah.
And it's sad, that's the thing.
It is
I mean, I don't know
as well.
anything about this guy,
Yeah.
but the fact is, you know, you could have a lovely old person that maybe just didn't make the right decision, and then they're in prison and you've killed people. And it's just actually, we need to put the right legislation, regulation
But you've got,
in place.
it's so hard, you know, as a son or daughter, you've got to tell your mum or dad, you can't drive anymore. And blimey, that's not an easy conversation, is it? It's like parenting in reverse.
I cannot imagine my driving licence being taken away. I just cannot imagine living without being able to drive a car.
Wow. Has anyone had that conversation with you?
Yeah, no. Well, my eyesight's fine, but, you know, but the thought of it.
Yeah.
You know, they already, you know, it's like you start things you can't do. You know, going to rent a car or hire a car. You know, if you're over a certain age, everything starts to change.
Hadn't occurred to me that you might be in that category, because I'm hoping self-driving cars, they can't come in fast enough. Once they come in, we'll all be...
I've been in one of those in LA, a self-driving car.
Really? Yeah.
And honestly, it is quite incredible. I've been in one twice in San Francisco. However, obviously, the issue, which some people may or may not see as an issue, is obviously the loss of jobs to cabbies and whatnot, which I think is worth thinking about.
And it feels spooky sitting there without anybody driving, yeah?
I don't
in
know.
the front or in the back?
Oh, in the back.
Right, and there was nobody in front of you?
I was in there with my friends, so we were like videoing, you know. Look at us, you know.
As we know, nothing is more dangerous than a human being at the wheel of a car. So,
if I can just stand up for young people, because I think very often we see politicians leaping on a reckless young driver and start to campaign for higher restrictions for, you know, young people under the age of 30 shouldn't be able to drive with friends. They should have a parental guardian in the car for many years after they pass their test. And actually, I don't think politicians, I think they're picking on young people, when actually older drivers are just as dangerous, if not slightly more, than people who just passed their test.
Yeah, but the thing about older drivers is they tend not to go too fast, whereas...
They also tend to...
I've never seen a good driver wearing a baseball cap back to front.
Can I just say, I think it's important to speak. So we've got this, but I genuinely do think we have to have some, maybe in schools, more talk. You know, like if you do a speeding awareness test, they do that. I actually think we need that in schools, and we need it in colleges, because I'm deeply concerned by the driving that I see. I've got a little 7-year-old, and I think actually we need it at both ends.
Yeah. Yep. Alexis wants your thoughts on this later. He'll be asking if older drivers should be made to take eye tests. We'd love your calls on that. Christian in the Mail, how British men do so much more housework than their grandfathers. Oh, we are more woke than we thought.
We are, and I'm at the vanguard of this. I love a bit of housework. In 1947, the Mail reports 24% of men admitted they'd never helped with household chores, and that's fallen by 20% to just 4%. And there's also some interesting research that says in the 1940s, 37% of women said they would rather have a man's life, but that has fallen to 9%. But yes, there's all sorts of other interesting facts. Men helping with their children with the homework have increased from 21% to 68%.
What about men who see going out to a job as housework?
I don't.
Doesn't count.
Surely no man.
Does that count, Larry?
Yeah.
Going out to work counts as housework.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of a bit of a hybrid, because I went to live with my gran when I was a kid, aged 9, and my gran had been in service in a big Victorian house, and so I stood by my gran, and my gran taught me everything. I know how to run a house, right from cleaning the shoes of everybody's there, to doing all the washing, to doing all the ironing, to do all the cleaning, doing everything, right? You know, the thing is, my kids only know how to operate a washing up machine. I have abhorrence for them. I just I like to have my hands.
Yeah.
If I'm away on a job,
Yeah.
the first thing I do when I get back home, I want to get my hands in warm, soapy water and wash some dishes.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
that's what I
Oh,
miss.
You're a new man. You're
I'm a new man, right?
Yeah.
I mean, housework. I mean, Mum's going to tell me off saying this. Housework is therapeutic, but no, I think this is really, really important. I watched the movie recently, Misbehaviour, which was all about the beauty pageant and and women's rights. And you just think, oh my days, there was a time when women couldn't get a bank account or they couldn't go for a doctor's appointment, and And so I think I love seeing the progress we've made as a country.
Yep.
I think it's good for men, and you definitely can't say that going to do a job is housework.
I saw when I said that, you were like, you pulled the most brilliant expression that you thought was private. OK, thank you so much for joining us, Larry. Here's the book, all wrapped up, out now, and you can catch Larry as well on TV, on 5, on The Feud, which continues Monday to Wednesday at 9 p.m. Thank you, sir.